それも一興
Chojin Sentai Jetman. It's frequently cited as the best entry in the Super Sentai series. I tend to agree with this sentiment. Even now, 30 years after it aired, Jetman's more mature storylines, complex character arcs, and stylistic direction have never been quite matched. This is particularly true of the show's handling of its characters and the emotional roller coaster it puts them through. Love triangles, honorable rivalries, betrayals, and lost love. There just isn't anything quite like it in the Super Sentai series. And in this video, we're going to explore one of the most memorable characters in the show and a legendary Super Sentai rival. The mysterious robot, Gray, one of the 4 Vyram generals leading the invasion of Earth. Gray is a robot with a menacing presence. He is a calculating, honorable warrior of few words. He's the most loyal member of the Vyram invasion group, often supporting his peers with their own plans. Strangely, even though he's a robot, he's also the only one to exhibit a sense of humanity within the ranks of the Vyram, an affinity for cigars and wine, appreciation for music, the ability to show compassion to a fellow robot, and adhering to a warrior's code of honor. Gray is one of the most multi-layered villains in the Super Sentai series history. Okay, so what is it exactly that makes Gray such a uniquely memorable character? From my perspective, it boils down to 3 key characters with whom Gray shares a complicated dynamic: Maria, Red Hawk, and Black Condor. Let's explore each of these and how they fit together to deliver Jetman's most memorable scenes. Rie Aoi, a member of the Skyforce team, who was originally selected for exposure to the Verdonic waves. She was Ryu Tendo's love interest and the original candidate to become White Swan. However, when the Vyram appeared, they attacked the Skyforce ship, resulting in Rie being jettisoned into outer space. Unbeknownst to him and the Skyforce team, she had been kidnapped by the Vyram and brainwashed into their newest general, Maria. Maria would go on to lead many of the Earth invasion plans on behalf of the Vyram, but subconsciously, she retained some memories of her previous life. This first manifests itself in episode 13, when Gray attempts to play the piano, which triggers a subconscious reaction in Maria. When she sits down at the piano, she realizes that she can instinctively play it. Her music resonates with Gray, who had never heard a beautiful melody like the one Maria is playing. This quiet moment will go on to become a turning point for both of these characters, with Gray soon adopting a more protective attitude towards Maria. Whether it was protecting her or her biodimensional monsters, Gray would be there to shield Maria from the Jetman team and fight them when necessary to keep them at bay. Throughout the course of the series, this dynamic would continue to play out, getting even more complicated as Gray was at times forced to ask for Ryu's help in order to protect her, or even from the other members of the Jetman team. Tragically, in the end, he's unable to save her. In one of the series' most notable scenes, he is only able to guard her as she passes away, a moment where he loses everything, and which puts him on a collision course with Guy Yuki for one final battle. But before we get to Gray and Guy's legendary rivalry, I wanted to touch on Gray and Ryu's relationship, as it's an often overlooked element of the story. Early in the series, Ryu realizes that Maria is Rie, and does everything he can to make her return to being who she was, but is frequently blocked by Gray, who will stand between him and Maria. This creates an understated rivalry between both characters and their conflicting interests in Maria. This leads to a couple of particularly powerful moments in the show, and key character development moments for Gray. First, in episode 42, when Gray realizes that he is unable to help Maria because he's a robot, which forces him to ask Ryu for help. he puts Maria ahead of his own interests and above his rivalry with Ryu. Then, in one of the most emotionally charged scenes in the Super Sentai series, keeping Ryu away from a recovered Rie. Ryu will go on to become almost catatonic, while Gray would gear up for a duel to the death against Guy Yuki. This brings us to one of the greatest rivalries in the Super Sentai series. First encountering each other in episode 5, Guy and Gray's rivalry will start to take shape in episode 22 when they first fight each other. But the rivalry we've come to know and love between these two would really kick in during episodes 25 and 39. In episode 25, Guy tried to attack Maria. Gray appeared at the last moment to protect her and fend off Guy. This was their first real battle. In episode 39, Guy and Gray would take on each other in a high-stakes casino battle. This is the first time we see them display their warrior-like code of honor and respect to each other. This battle will go on to inform other key moments in the story, including Gray asking Guy for help in episode 49.
Maria を頼む。何？グレイ、なぜだ？なぜ貴様がそんなことを？マリアを魔獣にしたくない。それならば人間に戻してやりたい。
In the end, it was Guy who Gray turned to in order to fulfill his last wish for a fight to the death, a duel that even today holds up as one of the greatest moments in Tokusatsu history. It all comes to a close in episode 49, when defeated and on the verge of death, Guy helps Gray enjoy one last cigar as the robot remembers Maria's music. An iconic end for one of the best and most memorable Super Sentai rivals.
Maria.